Welcome back. You're watching Today, and the SA Youth Economic Council will be hosting its Energy Summit Gala dinner tomorrow. Now, the purpose of this summit is to bring in the voice of the youth in the growing debate on our energy crisis and the implication of energy transition. Now, this comes after the plan to move to a more sustainable energy supply was reaffirmed at COP26 summit in Glasgow last year. We're joined by the SAYEC Chairperson Bonga Makhanya to give us more some insights into the views that the youth have on the energy crisis in South Africa. We've heard from many other voices, many industry bodies, but not very much from the youth, Bonga. So the view that is held by your organization about the crisis and a way forward.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us on your show today. No, definitely. I think as a council, we've established that South Africa is going through an energy crisis, if you can put it that. And if we are to improve the lived conditions of young people in this country, then the first point is to deal with the energy crisis, because you can't build an economy without electricity, and you can't build an economy without stable electricity grid. So, I mean, it goes without saying that ESCOM has had its challenges, and it's quite concerning now that, in the midst of all these challenges, there's plans to move to another source of electricity, to go to renewables without a clear plan. So unless government can give a clear plan as to how it's going to create sustainable and consistent energy supply using renewables, when it's struggling even with non-renewables, it's a cause for great concern. So as a council, I think we're quite concerned, and more concerned about the youth participation in the labor demographics, as well as the management demographics in terms of the leadership of businesses and SOEs in the energy sector. So we're really quite concerned about the participation of young people at a more economic level in the energy sector as well. We're not seeing enough of them.
Right, let's talk about this gala dinner that you'll be hosting and really the kind of conversation you want to have. There are various arguments about the cost of renewables and getting that alternative energy onto the grid, and the different complexities that exist there. So how do you iron these out and at the same time actually start to see tangible action after a talk shop like a gala dinner?
Yeah, so those are some of the things we'd like to hear from the minister as well as the energy sector, to give us a clear outline as to how if you go towards renewable energy and there will be subsequently job losses, how will those job losses be offset in the renewable sector? What do those jobs look like, and how many of them are they going to create? So those are the type of solutions that we're looking for from not only the minister, but the business sector as well, to tell us exactly what is the plan with regards to the transition on an economic level, and how many of those jobs and how many of those businesses that will be started or funded are going to employ young people. One of the things we'll be calling for is a 40% youth quota in the labor force in the energy sector, as well as a 40% executive quota at the executive level of management in all these energy companies, where we say we want to see young people occupying strategic positions of leadership, as well as also find themselves in the echelons of employment, because so far they've been on the outskirts. So those are some of the commitments that we're looking to hear in terms of employment, as well as funding opportunities, as well as executive level management participation of young people. So once we can get those type of answers, we'd start to perhaps have more confidence in our government as well as our business leaders that they are genuine about including young people in the conversation and including them in the transition. So that's all. Those are the main talking points that we'll be going after. So how exactly are young people going to feature in this transition?
And that last point that you make there, Bonga, is quite important, because it indicates that the responsibility is not just on government. The private sector has to come to the party and play ball as well.
Yes, definitely. And more than just employment, as well as funding opportunities, we want the private sector to play a developmental role in the areas as to which they are going to invest in. doesn't make sense how in mining communities currently there's big multinational companies, but they don't invest in those communities. There's no roads, there's no infrastructure. As much as we can blame government, but how do private companies exist with good conscience in such poor communities and leave them with nothing, but they extract so much? So we would really like to see the private sector play more of a developmental role in employing young people through their graduate programs, through job placement programs, which are some of the things that we also call for, is that, they must play their role in assisting the youth unemployment crisis. It doesn't make sense that we have such a huge unemployment crisis, yet businesses every year are recording profits and are growing stronger and stronger on the JSE if you were to look at them. So definitely they must play their role, and it would be quite interesting to hear some of the business commitments that they'll be making, especially with jobs, because we have a lot of unemployed graduates who will be attending the summit. All young people of South Africa who are interested in energy are encouraged to come, and they would air out their grievances. All unemployed graduates must, make way tomorrow, and we'll hear what the commitments are from the private sector.
That's South Africa's Youth Economic Council's Chairperson Bonga Makhanya joining us there to speak about youth involvement in South Africa's energy crisis.